to No Chill with Gilbert Arenas. I'm your co-host, Josiah Johnson, and today we're back out here at Gil's crib. Gil, I love your spot because it reminds me how broke I am. It keeps me humble. No. It keeps me humble and willing to work. But, today we're going to talk about the first month of the 21-22 NBA season, and we're going to take some fan questions off of YouTube. We really appreciate y'all sending them in. Keep them coming, and we will definitely keep answering them. But first and foremost, we got a new segment that's likely to be Johnny Depp's favorite. It's called What's Eating Gilbert Arenas. Gil, you're a basketball savant. I need to know what's eating you. Also, shout out to Leo before we get into it, and Jeff Bezos. We out here. So, what's eating Gil?
The top? The refereeing.
Okay.
The new rules that they've decided to put into the NBA.
So, what's bothering you about these new rules?
The fact that they cold turkey the style, like it's never a thought of what's going to happen. It's basically, we're going to put this rule in and we're going to be hard-nosed about it, when that's not how you actually go about anything in life. You have to baby it. So like, if someone's averaging 14, free throws, you can't jump down to 2 to 4. That's too drastic. That means you're really not doing one thing. So you're going into the game saying, we're not gonna make none of these calls, which means that you're not actually watching the game. You're just deciding, I'm not gonna make a call. So whatever he does and he shows the same motion, I'm not gonna call that, when some of those are actually fouls.
Yeah.
So you're really just not calling fouls on certain plays because you're not watching it. You already prejudge what you're going to do. And that's what I don't like about it.
So when you look at what was going on, a lot of guys aren't benefiting from it. A lot of guys are benefiting from it. I'm always a fan of, I think a part of the game is tricking refs. Like, refs are human. There's human bias. There's human error. I think this rule initially was designed to attack guys like Trey, like Luka, like Harden. We saw the memes that they were going to have to become UPS workers or FedEx workers once this rule took effect. Some guys are benefiting, some are. I think somebody who would probably agree with you is Dame Lillard. I think Dame last year was averaging like 7 free throws a game. This year it's dropped down to 3. So, when you look at what's going on across the league, and then there's other guys like Steph, who is not an issue for. Steph's still getting buckets doing it. But do you think they're deliberately targeting certain guys with these new rules?
Yes, it's targeting a style of play. Like, you got to remember, you're taking away the creative genius of what these guys are bringing. So Steph's job is to create space. So this won't affect the guy who's creating space. This would affect the guy who's creating contact, who's manipulating a defense of rule, a defense of laziness. So what they're taking away from the game is real creativity, right? And it's more of a dumb down. You're like, people say, oh man, this is great to see this game again, the game like this. Well, unfortunately, that means they've went backwards. If they're bringing the game back to 90s and early 2000s and the 80s, then you've taken away evolution of what this game was by dumbing it down. And what you have dumbed down is this. You've dumbed down work ethic, manipulation, understanding the rules. Like, think about an offensive player. That offensive player goes through the rule book. He has to understand what refs call what, who has a short temper, who allows leeway, who allows and ones, who don't go. Like, the offense has to understand all of these elements to go into a summer to spend 4 or 5 hours a day working on his craft. That is his job, to understand what a defensive player does. Like, when we used to hear Kobe, right? We used to hear Kobe say he watches the best defenders and he understands their movement, understands all of this. That's what an offensive player does. Have you ever went into the summer and seen a defensive player working on his defense? No, he's not going out there doing defensive slides. Oh, I'm guarding Kobe. I got to do this. I'm working on my up fakes and staying on the ground and working on block shots to keep it in balance. They're not Rudy Gobert is not spending hours in the summer working on his defensive skill. So you're taking away the hours of offense to make it easier for the defense who's actually, at this point, lazy in the summer. You're not going to the summer preparing on how to stop James Harden. You want the ref to do that. Okay. You want the ref to sit there and not make calls to help your defense, which I think hurts the game.
So when you were playing, how cognizant were you of the refs that you were dealing with? Did you know, to your point, some guys, look, I'll be able to get away with a lot more than others. Some guys are going to just really be hard and fast by the book, and, maneuvering around these different situations as a player. Are you looking at, the ref list every night? Like, all right.
As soon as I get out, the scoreboard, she used to, these are the three refs, right? These are the three refs. Cause when I get frustrated, I want to be able to call them by their name, right? That's what I said. You got to think about an offensive player. Everything is part of manipulation, right? So I want to be able to call them by their name. I don't want to say, hey, ref, this, like they know my name. Yeah. So I need to know their name. So before the game, I'm learning who's who. I'm doing research. All right, let's see what he does. Okay, so you're making mental notes of, all right, okay, Jack likes and one. So let me go ahead, and if I hear the whistle, throw it up because he's going to call it as and one. This guy likes the 80s style. So, me trying to bait this guy to foul me, he's not going to go for it. So that's what the offense had to learn to do. So that's what I said. There's more intelligence put on the offensive side. So when you're talking about Trae Young's, Dame Lillard, you're talking about the best of the best, right? You're talking about the top players are doing this, which means if there's a top defense, right? The Rudy Gobert's, the Kawhis, we'll say Patrick Beverleys, the Paul Georges, LeBrons, they don't get called for those things. Right? They don't get called for those trick plays because they understand the Marcus Smarts. Like, he doesn't have a problem with James Harden trying to lock his arm because he knows that's what James Harden's trying to do. Right. So he beats him to the punch. That's called an intelligent basketball player on the defensive side. So don't change the rule to help everybody else. They need to actually do their homework also.
So you mentioned Harden. Harden's averaging about 18 points per game. Last season, he was at about 9 free throws a game. This season, 4.7. 5 free throw range. Do the stars need to change the game, or do the refs need to change?
Well, it's not the refs. They get their information from the NBA. The NBA needs to understand what they're doing. Like, understand how it affects the game. Like, understand that hours and hours go into understanding offense, understanding how to move and create space and create contact, human behavior. Like, you're trying to say, okay, he flops. It's a human trait of what he's understand. If I throw the ball in front of me, human nature tells that player to reach for it. When he reaches for it, I'm going to pull up. His arm is here. I caught it. Thank you. And one. That's part of basketball. If the player is dumb enough to fall forward every time, that's on them. Don't penalize me by taking that away from me. If I'm dribbling and he decides to reach around my body and I lock his arm in so you can see it and go up, tell him to stop reaching. Don't penalize me because he got his hand caught in a cookie jar. That's my job to understand what they're going to do. If I go to the lane and I know JaVale McGee loves block, he's the block leader. This guy wants to be a block leader, meaning he's going to leave the ground every single time. Okay, pump fake. He jumps, I jump into him. Don't take that away from me. Tell his stupid ass to stop jumping. Like, stop making rules because the defense is not disciplined enough.
Sure. So I think what we're saying here, Adam Silver, is let these guys eat. And now we're going to continue on with what's eating Gilbert Arenas. So, Gil, I got to pull it up. Let's shift to analytics here. So on the ETC's pod, shout out to the legends Kevin Durant and Bands. Charles Barkley was on there. He has some interesting things to say about analytics. So Barkley said, they made it up because all these rich dudes who own these teams want to get their son-in-law a job. He said it's basically, he compared, analytics are just stats, right? And he compared it to yoga and stretching, essentially saying like they called it yoga so they could charge you for it, but it's still stretching. So I want to know, do you agree with what Barkley said, or?
I agree. Analytics are just numbers on a piece of paper, right? It doesn't tell you like how that game is played, how great that player is, when he's great, when he's bad. It doesn't actually give you any of that. It doesn't tell you, if this guy's scared of this person, what kind of heart does it? It doesn't give you any of that. And when you do analytics, you only do it off of usually the top tier. So, when analytics and threes and layups came into the game, you're doing it off of Golden State. Well, if Curry's the best shooter ever, and Klay Thompson is right behind him, and then you add Kevin Durant, who's right behind him, or they're competing for who's the best shooter ever, and they're all three on the same team, and there's 13, 14 players, 7 of them in the top 10 in three-point percentage, you can't do analytics off of that team.
Yeah.
It just doesn't make sense because the rest of the league cannot shoot as good as this group. So you're doing this whole stat about threes and you're just programming all your teams to do threes, like threes and layups. Well, some of these guys can't shoot. Like you have someone like let's say Crowder. He averages 5 to 6 threes a game. Reggie Miller only averaged 4.
No.
Ray Allen only averaged 4. That's a big difference. So you don't even have the top tier shooters shooting more. You have the middle of the road shooters shooting more than the greatest shooters of all time.
Yeah.
And that's where it becomes a problem. So when you're looking at, like points per game and you're sitting there like, yeah, they scored 89 points today. How? They shot 55 threes, they made 4. Yeah. But that's what they want. And then, when a player don't want to shoot threes, he's frowned upon.
Yeah.
Not realizing that if you look at the game, the people who shoot mid-range and who actually play the game regular are still dominant. They're still dominant players. Tatum, Beal, Chris Paul. You have
DeMar, who we had on the show.
Yeah, DeMar.
Like, I can make threes if I want.
You got Luka, like you still, Devin Booker. You still got all the mid-range assassin who actually plays the full spectrum of a game, still killing. But they don't want to, they only looking at Klay Thompson and Curry, and they also shoot mid-ranges too.
Yeah. The thing is, I think to your point, a lot of guys look at Steph and Klay, and it's like, well, shit, you ain't got a Steph and Klay on your roster, so you can put as many threes as you want. If they're not going in, it's not going to be a recipe for success.
It isn't, and that's what they have not figured out yet. Like, you would expect that these teams, like, when we were playing, we was averaging 104, right? And we didn't shoot that many threes a game. And you're talking about you have doubled the threes and you're averaging 102? There's a reason. There's a reason. It's more bricks. And it's more bricks from the wrong shooters. That's the problem. Because, it's a three-point line. This guy, you don't supposed to shoot that 3. Wait till I get the ball back. Now this guy's just chucking.
Yeah.
He gets to chuck it. Like, just throw that shit up. Just go ahead and just brick that and wait for the offensive rebound.
I got to get in the gym and get those jumpers right. It's the moral of the story.
This episode is brought to you by Peloton. Most people wait until after New Year's to start getting in shape, but Agent Zero is here to tell you that getting more cut than a Thanksgiving turkey doesn't have to wait until 2022. Peloton makes working out simple, convenient, and fun. I ride my Peloton almost every morning. It's easy to be consistent when you can work out right from home. The holidays are crazy, which is why now is the perfect time to get your Peloton. It's hard to find the motivation to fit in a workout during the busy holiday season. But with the Peloton, it's something I look forward to while I deal with my 5 kids and all my extended family. Peloton makes fitness entertaining and fun. Peloton instructors curate playlists to motivate you for every mood. And Peloton has endless class variety to keep your workout feeling fresh. Get free access to Peloton app when you purchase a Peloton bike. Your favorite classes go where you go this holiday season. Visit onepeloton.com to learn more. Try Peloton classes free for the rest of the year. New members only. Visit onepeloton.com/app to learn more. Terms apply. Peloton, when your workout is a joy, it's a joy to work out. This episode of No Chill is brought to you by Stance. I got 5 kids, and gift buying for 5 kids ain't cheap. Which is why this Christmas, I'm doing my shopping at Stance. Take it from Agent Zero. You can never go wrong with socks and underwear. And these aren't any socks and underwear. Stance makes the best socks and underwear money can buy. Guaranteed to make merry with quality comfort for you and yours. Stance has made gifts giving super simple this holiday season. Stance premium line of socks, apparel, and more always comes correct with colorful constructions. Innovative materials and choice fits that are built to last. Throw in an all-star curation of A-list collaborators, and those lucky recipients on your holiday nice list have never had it so good. Check out Stance.com for all of the latest, including several different subscription options that are sure to keep your friends and family feeling great all year round. Stance are the official casual socks of the NBA, with incredible designs of your favorite players like LeBron James and Steph Curry. Stance has the perfect gift for every punk and poet on your list. Go see for yourself. It's easy. Just head on over to Stance.com and pick out your styles you think they might like. Enjoy the color and comfort of a life less ordinary with Stance.
All right, let's move on. So now we're going to do a segment called Good Team or Good Story.
Okay.
So first up, we got your Wizards. Started out hot in their first 10, 7-3. A friend of the program, Kyle Kuzma, was out there giving work, choosing violence. You know, he was getting shat on by Cavs fans. Decided to return the shitting, said they wouldn't be shit without LeBron. Mm-hmm. You know, along with Bill, Trez, the rest of the crew. They got that good nucleus, a la the Westbrook trade. When you look at this Wizards squad, is this a good team or a good story, or do you see this lasting?
I actually think it's a good team. I mean, you know, there were some pickups that you didn't really pay attention to, which was, you know, Trez, Dinwiddie, you know, those two, besides Kuzma's, those two right there changes the dynamic of the team. And you can see how, you know, Trez is thriving with Dinwiddie. You got another hooper. You know, you have another hooper that can put buckets in. You know, he's coming off of an injury, but you can see that hasn't missed a beat. Add that with Bill and Kuzma hitting from the outside, you actually have a legit team.
Yeah, for sure. So, you know, you see this thing lasting for them, and where do you see them kind of finishing out in this East Coast? Just obviously it's early now, and I don't ever like to look too far ahead, you know, like most people, but they are a topic of discussion. So,
you know, I don't see a team like this really, you know, hitting a drought of 5-6 in a row. I mean, you know, they have a real stable nucleus. So I think they can stay in the top 4 for sure.
Now let's move on to the Bulls. I think we were both high on the Bulls. Free agency moves. Obviously, DeMar coming in, getting buckets. It's sad for me, not to compare him to Melo, but a guy like DeMar, some teams are offering him mid-level. And, you know, as Lakers fans, obviously, we live in the clouds and thought we were going to get him on a discount. But he took a nice bag with the Bulls, joined Lonzo, Levine, the rest of that crew. They also got the People's Champ Alex Cruz, so moving and shaking. So are the Bulls a good team or a good story?
You know, I think because they all know what is at stake, I think they all want the same thing. They want to win, you know, which sometimes is hard when you're going into the season because, you know, people are thinking about free agencies. Some people are thinking about being a man. Some people are thinking about staying a man, you know, so you always have that clash, but it seems like this group is actually together, you know, so, you know, where they are, where they're tied for first, you know, I kind of figured they'd be somewhere in the top 5. Didn't realize that they were going to click this early. But, you know, when you have DeRozan, you know, and Zach LaVine as basically 2 threes, like a 2 and a 3 that can actually put the ball in the basket. That gives you just those two guys. I mean, this is like Harden and, KD,
I'll count it.
You're talking about, Clay and, Steph, but that's 1 and 2. But, you got your 2 and your 3. Two guys that can just put the ball in the basket. And then, you got, Zoe, who's just probably the most unselfish player, in the league, which he's going to do what he's going to do, trying to get the ball to those guys. Caruso, the hustle man, who's also unselfish offensively. So, you have a group that's playing well together. It's a great story too. It's a great story. So it's just one of those teams that you just want to, watch out for, but don't be surprised if they lose 4 or 5. They're right there
for sure. I think for us, obviously former Pac-10 guys, it's great to see just the USCLA Bulls with the Zach and Zoe, which two light-skinned dudes coexisting. Even though UCLA guys, that means nothing. There were several light-skinned dudes back in the day that weren't rocking with each other. And then the USC contingent with DeMar and Vucevic and that whole crew. But another guy I want to shift to is Caruso. So Caruso goes to the Bulls. Bulls fans are kind of clowning Lakers fans like, oh, y'all hyped up and gassed up Caruso. He's not really that good. Look at his stats, whatever. Now it seems like every time I pull up Twitter, it's a Caruso's the GOAT. Oh, we got y'all. Y'all in your feelings crying right now. And they've kind of switched it. So when you look at a guy like Alex Caruso, and conversely, the Lakers kind of struggling a little bit without him, how important or essential are guys like that to a team? Just, if you want to call them glue guys, whatever, but in terms of just helping teams get to that winning level.
It is the glue guy. It is the guy that really just he does everything that the stars don't do. You know what I mean? He's the guy that he don't care what the score is. He's just going to go out there and play his game, play it to his hardest. Like he's the guy that if you're down 10, offensively, he might not give you those 10 points, but defensively, irritating someone, offensive rebound, doing those little things that just changes the momentum of the game. That's what he brings. That's what Caruso actually brings to just the game itself and teams. So, he's like for Bucks, he was like the PJ Tucker.
Okay.
Who's just going to do all the intangible things that gets them over the hump.
PJ now with the Heat doing his thing. So when you look at that squad, who would you, as a guy you play with that you would say is like similar to a Caruso or a guy that you play with?
I had a few, I had Deshaun Stevenson.
Okay.
Jared Jeffries was like that. In my earlier years, you had Juan Dixon, but Juan Dixon was just a scorer. He just got buckets, but he was instant bucket. Steve, player like Steve Blake. Michael Rubby. I had all damn near role players. I made everybody role players. I made everybody role players. Sure, but sure. The two that really put themselves in positions for us to win was Deshaun Stevenson and Jeffries.
For sure. Let's move out to the Wild Wild West. Golden State Warriors. Last year fans were calling them a church league team, their own fans. This year, started out the season 10-1. Now fans are puffing their chests back out, obviously waiting for Clay to come back, thinking around Christmas, January time, he'll be back. When you look at what this squad's been able to do, especially Steph Curry, I want to say was the oldest player to drop 50 and 10. You put that on Trey's head, kind of had to let him know. And I'm a Trey guy, but it was like, look, Steph's still that dude, still playing at MVP level. When you look at the Warriors, is that a good team or just a good story?
It's so hard to judge them because on paper you're like, yeah, this ain't it. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, this ain't it. But it's you have Steph. You know what I mean? And that's where analytics doesn't show. The impact of what he does during a game ignites everyone else, right? So they're down 10-15. He comes down, shoot 3 threes, get the crowd involved. Now Paul comes down, hits 2 more threes. Draymond comes down. That analytics doesn't tell you how that happens, why that happens. It's the Steph effect. So when you look at 10-1, you're not surprised. You're like, okay, I can see that. But you're still looking at it like, I don't know how they're getting it done, but they're getting it done. It's Steph back in his MVP element. And when he's playing like that, it's hard to stop him because everyone is playing like that. Everyone's playing on this level. Like, the shot, like I see one play was, he came off the screen, pump fake, guy jumped by. He tried to shoot again, guy jumped back. He passed it and cut, backdoor layup. Like all of that is just clicking on all levels. And, it don't matter what players he has on his team. As long as they can think, he can win with them.
So obviously no Clay back yet. You've dealt with injury trying to come back from that situation. Clay missed the past 2 seasons, hasn't played since the 2019 NBA Finals. When Clay comes back, how long of an adjustment period is he going to need? And is he that piece they need to now really lock them in? Obviously, the 10-1 start, amazing. They're out there puffing their chest, woofing. But is Clay that guy now that can get them to that contender level? And really
as long as they're moving forward, winning, they're going to hold Clay out as long as possible. There's no need, there's no urgency to have him come back now. You got to find one of those sweet spots where, he's not coming in on a 4 games and 5 night type of, or you're on a whole East Coast trip, gone for 16 days. You want to bring him back into a situation where it's smooth, but it is Clay. We're not talking about some rookies here. We're not talking about, a player like a Zion where, he's still young and he's still trying to figure out this NBA. You got a guy who's did it. He's he's done, 60 points in 30 minutes. So he's instant offense. So once he gets back in, for Clay and his shot, it's just more conditioning than anything. Yeah. He's just probably right now, I'm pretty sure his leg is fine at this point. Right now it's just getting the condition, getting the timing, before he steps on that floor.
And as a guy coming back from injury, you mentioned conditioning. What can you really do to replicate playing in an NBA game other than playing in the game? And how long do you think it's going to take him to get that win right where he's back to some semblance of Clay of old?
It's like anything. You can't get into NBA shape until you play in NBA games, so you can understand the speed and understand you can run 5-10 miles a day and go up and down 2 times trying to guard a John Moran and you sitting there like, you know what I mean? So it's just getting that stamina back of moving lateral moving. It's because, practice is controlled. So he's never going to get the real effect until he starts playing. So from here, he won't get to 100%, when it comes to being in shape, but he can get to 90.
Okay.
He can get to 90 without actually stepping on that floor. But that 10% is rough because, it's one of those running around players that is better than you, just as equal, versus in practice, you are the king. You know what I mean? So that's the difference where, sometimes we fool ourselves thinking we're ready, not knowing that the players we're playing against is, 50% of what we got to guard.
All right, now we're going to play a game. This is the No Chill podcast. We're going to play a game of chill or deal. So basically, I'm going to give you a team. Tell me, are you chilling or are you dealing? Is it time to make some moves and time to shake some things up?
Okay.
So let's start back with the defending champion, Milwaukee Bucks. Obviously, there was a ton of hype and fanfare coming into the season.
Deal.
They looked
Deal.
They look good early on. First 12 games, they're 6-6. Only where to go is up. New squad, some new pieces. You're dealing. Why are you dealing the Milwaukee Bucks?
Listen, they won a championship. Okay? Last year. The whole league got hurt. They won. That's it. That's it. There's no repeat. There was never going to be no repeat or nothing. Like you barely made it out last year. I'm just going to be honest. Like every round, the star players got hurt. Like you were struggling with Trae Young, referee got hurt. You was getting manhandled by was it the Nets until they got hurt. He was having trouble with Suns until Foster came in. I'm just going to be honest. Foster's 2-0 in that series.
That Foster freeze.
That Foster freeze is 2-0 in that series. So you won, okay? Now it's just enjoy basketball. You got rid of PJ Tucker, who's the glue. You got. I don't even want to deal. I can't chill or deal. It's just you guys did what you did. Enjoy.
Brought in Grayson. They got some. Brought in George Hill. They got some nice pieces. I like Budenholzer's offense. Obviously, I'm pandering. My dad works for the Bucks. They're plugging us with tickets, so. Always know where your bags are coming from. But this is your show. I'm just here to facilitate.
I'm just saying,
I'm just hitting you with the magic.
They had their moment. They did good. It's like the Detroit Pistons back in 2004. You did good. There's not going to be no repeats or triple P. You did good. Enjoy that. We'll see you in 35 more years.
So, where do you see this squad? Finishing up at this year? Are they top 4 in the East still? What caliber? I'm asking. Okay, I'm just asking.
Wait,
I'm just doing my job.
We're still on the Bucks?
We're still on the Bucks.
I thought we got rid of them. I thought we just dealt them.
Top 4, but what? But can they right the ship of the regular season? Top 6? What are you looking at?
I think they can be top 6 still.
Ooh.
Because you lose an you lose an asset that kept everybody in line. So the fact that at some point the best players have to be guarded, you're asking your stars to now guard that person versus PJ Tucker. PJ Tucker was the one that kept Giannis. You can just play offense and then play help side defense. Now Giannis has to guard KD. He has to guard James Harden to shut him down. You got to guard Aldridge and all. You have more jobs to do. So you burn out. So he won't last the whole season trying to be dominant on both ends of the floor.
What if he keeps that jumper right? It looked early on like, he had a little...
he came out, hit his first three, and then I get it. That's the thing with bad shooters, The worst thing they can ever do is actually make the shot, because that tells them to keep shooting.
I feel it's going to be like a Gil versus Giannis All-Star Weekend. We need to get it cracking. We got Jared Williams, Frank Gore. But I'm just saying, just for cardio.
I love Giannis. Like, as a player, the team, they wanted. He got them a championship. That's it. He's did his job. Other than that, just don't expect championship caliber from that team. They did good. Milwaukee, you did amazing. That championship should last you about 35 years.
All right, now let's move on to the Boston Celtics. Celtics fans really love me. They let me know every single day how much of a fan of me they are. But looking at the squad, bottom of the East to start the season, I think there was a lot of excitement, anticipation coming in. You got guys like Marcus Smart who've been chirping a little bit in the media, wanting a little bit more ball movement. They're being a little predictable with Tatum and Jaylen Brown. Mm-hmm. When you look at the Boston Celtics, chill or deal?
Listen, when they were considered like a championship caliber team, this is back when Isaiah Thomas was there, then Kyrie went there. I was dealing them then.
Okay.
They've been dealt a long time ago. The reality is finally kicking in. You know what I mean? They had the college coach who had the college style, which means, everyone had a role. They played it well, but it wasn't good enough to win deep in the playoffs. They didn't have that kind of talent. All their talent was young talent. They had a small ball system where, Gordon was their 4-man at 6'8"? I mean, not athletic. So it's, so it was a team that was just built to just look good, in regular season. Now you got, 2 guys coming into their stardom and a bunch of nothing on the rest of that team. So I personally don't understand what Marcus Smart is expecting. You're the defender. Defend. You know what I mean? You're good at your job. Do that. We'll figure out this offense. We'll pass it to you when we feel you are open enough to get the ball. Like that's
So on the 1-4 flat, he's the flat.
Yeah, he's the deep corner. No, I'm just saying, but it's like, like if I was on the team, I would have, he would have wanted to fight me because I would have said it. Like, who said it? Who needs the ball? Oh, all right, Marcus. Okay, yeah. How many shots he took? He took 8? That's 4 too many. All right, yeah, we need to do something about that, Jalen. He took 4 too many shots. We all have a role, so don't call us out for doing ours. We're not calling you out,
So there were some rumors.
I'm surprised did he get the ball the next game? Because he wouldn't have got the ball from me next game.
This episode of No Chill is brought to you by 8 Sleep. Good sleep is an ultimate game changer. More than 30% of Americans struggle with sleep, and temperature is one of the main causes of poor sleep. If I work out at the gym all day, I'm still going to be running hot when I hit that pillow. And I got tired of a hot mattress making me not tired. Now, I am falling asleep in record time faster than I have before. All thanks to my 8 Sleep Pod Pro Cover. The Pod Pro Cover by 8 Sleep is the most advanced solution on the market for thermal regulation. It pairs dynamic cooling and heating with biometric tracking. You can add the cover to any mattress and start sleeping as cool as 55 degrees or as hot as 110 degrees. The temperature of the cover will adjust each side of the bed based on your sleep stages, biometrics, and bedroom temperature reacting intelligently to create the optimal sleeping environment. The result? 8 Sleep users fall asleep up to 32% faster and reduce sleep interruption by 40%. Pod Pro Cover by 8 Sleep is being used by the top athletes like me all over the world, including 2021 fitness man on earth, Justin Medeiros. Good sleep is the ultimate game changer for recovery. And now you can go to 8sleep.com/nochill to check out the Pod Pro cover and save $150 at checkout. That's 8sleep.com/nochill. This podcast is sponsored by BetterHelp. BetterHelp will assess your needs and match you with your own licensed professional therapist. It's not a crisis line. It's not a self-help. It is professional therapy done securely online. Once you set up an account, you can start communicating in 48 hours and can log into your account anytime and send a message to your therapist. No matter what your issue is, BetterHelp will connect you with their vast network of professionals worldwide with services that may not be available locally. You'll get timely and thoughtful responses. Plus, you can schedule weekly video or phone sessions so you won't have to ever sit in an uncomfortable waiting room again. It's more affordable than offline therapy, and financial aid is available. And since BetterHelp wants you to start living a better life today, we have a special offer for No Chill listeners. Get 10% off your first month at BetterHelp.com/nochill. Visit BetterHelp.com/nochill. That's better, HELP, and join over 2 million people who have taken charge of their mental health with the help of an experienced professional.
There's some rumors, some rumblings. There was some talk, potentially a Jaylen Brown for Ben Simmons trade. Do you think that makes any sense whatsoever?
No, because one, you don't have enough scoring as it is on that team. You have 2 stars, and you have what's that grandpa's name on that team? Grandpa Horford. That was so like 2015, 16. Like that ship has sailed. You can't. You got to match with your young talent. You have to put pieces that's around the same age. You can't have, 24, 23, 22, 52. He's shit. I'm pretty sure he's about that age. Goddamn, he's been in the league a long time.
Okay.
But, you can't have, that's too far of a gap when you have a young nucleus. So I know he's, he's the professional, he's the veteran, but, you're trying to build the team. You don't want to keep running this rat race, and those 2 guys are getting older and older and older to the point where they're like, we're not winning here, let's bounce.
For sure. I mean,
Now, if you can get Ben Simmons and keep Jaylen Brown and Tatum, you got a whole new team.
Okay.
That's a whole new team.
That's a squad. Yeah, I mean, I think Ben Simmons, like I said before, I'm worried about the Warriors more than anything. Because if he goes to the Warriors, it's like shit.
Yeah, it's over. That's what I said. It's a whole
throw the damn towel. But I think the Celtics would be great because, they're not going to get to the championship.
But, but at this point, let's just be honest. Philly dropped the ball on trades because now everyone looks at it wrong. They say he has no value. No. Philly has no leverage. So we know you don't want him. So I'm going to give you exactly that. Why do I need to give you this if you don't want him?
Well,
I'm not going to give you this. I'll give you this. Hey, take this, So I want to keep all this. Like, I want to keep, I want to keep this. I don't want to, you're saying he's trash. I'm going to give you trash for your trash. Let's trade trash. I'm not going to trade you gold for the person you're calling trash.
For sure. Now, when you look at this Celtics squad, can they right the ship and get back up, top 4, top 5?
This year?
This season, 21-22.
Bruh, no.
Okay.
No, they was done 4-5 years ago.
It was a deal 5 years ago.
They was done 4-5 years ago. You could have seen it on the writing that they're keeping the same pieces. Those pieces is getting older. You should have done switched out. No offense. Marcus Smart, he should have been gone. He did his part when you guys are good. Then when he had his value, you could have got a bigger player, somebody who's more versatile. Same thing with Horford. He shouldn't have came back. Should have found a younger, better piece that can do what he did 9 years ago. You're supposed to build. Some teams are so content at what they are, they don't actually build to improve their team when other teams are getting better. And by the time they realize that it's so far that they got to go into rebuilding stage because you're so far behind because you thought this team was that good because of what a regular season schedule looked like. And then you get stuck with the star with nobody else.
Mass holes are probably going to be coming for you, so just get ready.
No. I think they don't like you more.
I know, they still don't like me. I didn't even say nothing. They still don't like me. But let's keep.
But you got a KG shirt on, so you might be good.
Courtesy, yeah. I had to, show love. This is T-Wolves KG, though, just so you guys know. Not rocking the Celtics KG. Under 80 circles. All right, let's keep this thing moving, Gil. Mm-hmm. We're going to move it out to the West Coast. Obviously, we're here in beautiful Los Angeles. Boop, boop. We got America's team, the Los Angeles Lakers. Injury, plague. Haven't had a full roster, obviously, for the entire season. A little shaky there. They got a big win over the Heat a few weeks ago. When you look at this Lakers squad, chill or deal?
I'm going to chill with the team, deal the coach. Ooh. Damn. Listen, when he won a championship and someone asked me, where do you rate him? I said, with that team, he gets a C plus at best. The lineups he was putting in sometimes were just horrible. I was trying to figure out, what are you expecting when some of these lineups, you have Anthony Davis, LeBron, and then there's 3 non-scorers on the team. Then why do I need to guard this person if he's just a spot-up shooter or he doesn't shoot at all? For defense, you're setting up a defense, not realizing on offense, everyone's looking at LeBron and AD. So it's actually harder for them to score because they got to go through 5 players now. So some of those lineups I was looking at, that's just bad management right there. Yeah, you won because the team that you played was just not actually good. The Heat was not a championship team. Let's just be honest. That was it should have been 4-0. The fact that they won 2 says a lot about subbing. It just says a lot about the subbing. So you're looking at this roster now and you're like, what are you doing? And when I think Trez came out and said a few weeks back that how I'm having success now is they're playing me. And then someone said, I don't think they knew how to play him when he was with the Lakers. How do you not know how to play a player? Isn't that your job as a coach to be flexible? Like, unless you're going in there with this idea that this is what we're going to do and you're just going to stick with it, it makes sense that you wouldn't know how to play certain players. And that's why some coaches are just not good, because they don't actually understand what talent is, how that talent is played, how to utilize that talent. You're stuck with, this is what I want, this is what it's going to look like, and we're going to do it this way. No, it's 82 games. Try some shit. Try some shit. You'll be surprised what you get when you try some shit. You got a guy
trademark that. We got to trademark that.
Like, you got a guy sitting on the bench, you got none, right? You got him, like, I seen what he did in spot minutes. You put him in 12 minutes, you got 17 points. Try that shit. This might be a whole different player. Like, you gotta put the pieces out there to actually see what they can do without yanking them. You might go into a game where, all right, LeBron's going to sit today, and Davis going to sit today. All right, young guys, hey, this is one of those games we don't supposed to win on paper. Go out there, be aggressive. Let me see what you have. I want to see what you do in your comfort zone, not my comfort zone, your comfort zone. So when you get a Thornton, THT?
Yeah.
You get a guy and you're like, damn, he's good. Man, he can score. Because you put him in his element. And then from there, you put him on the bench.
To Vogel's, defense, all these guys have been hurt. I mean, it's like, they're rolling out guys now. You got 5-6 guys injured, obviously LeBron. This team, though, had a pretty cake schedule up top, blowing leads to the Thunder.
How do you blow a lead? Bad subbing.
It's questionable, but haven't seen Ariza all year. THC obviously had the thumb surgery. When these guys come back, how much rope do you give Vogel with the roster that's actually,
But the players that are playing are still good players compared to everybody else.
Yeah.
Compared to everybody else, they are still better than, like, you still don't even know how to play Westbrook the correct way. Like, you still ain't using him the way he needs to be used. So it's like I don't even know what was training camp for then. What were you doing in training camp? Like, I remember our training camp, we spent like those first days offense. Like, where everybody's trying to get in shape and all that, we did that shit in September. We got in shape in September, so when we went to training camp, we can focus on offense. How do we play with each other? What do each other like? So we can mesh on that court. Okay, we need to tweak these plays. These are the plays I wanted. I can't use them. We're going to do these plays. So we're learning right there, new plays. So that playbook we had, half that shit was changed from the day one of training camp. Because this guy got better. I didn't think he was going to get better. He actually got better. He developed a three-point shot. Ooh, now I don't have to slash him. I can float him. That's what a coach is supposed to do. You can't just keep going in with the same mindset. Like, it's.
So, hypothetically, you're the coach of the Lakers now. How are you using Westbrook in that offense?
First of all, what is the offense? I mean, all I see is like when LeBron and AD's in, they do a pick and roll, and then you got one guy in the corner here, someone over there, someone in the deep corner. That's we call the plants in the club. He's atmosphere. That was he's just there just to look pretty. That's what half that team looks like when those guys are like. If you're gonna have LeBron, if you're trying to run offense with LeBron and Anthony Davis, you don't need shooters. You need score work. You need guys who get buckets. Because a shooter can only be effective if he actually gets the ball. So if you think that, okay, we're going to pass it in, and then they're going to come in double, and then the ball's going to swing, and then, a person like Cal Korver's going to get 3. That's not how that shit actually works in real life. No, you need, if you want to get Anthony Davis and LeBron free, you need more offense on the board. So I don't want none. to hit 30 on me in 10 minutes. So I'm not going to help because when I help and you hit him and he backdoors and he scores, now I'm not helping anymore. But if that's, Caruso sitting out here knowing Caruso's not going to shoot the ball, I'm just going to sit, pass it. He's going to pass it back. Come on back. We're going to sit there and do this whole game. You have to put people in that matches what you're trying to do. You're trying to get them involved, put more scores. Because more scores means no doubles. Like you don't want to put liabilities on the court that's going to help and double and clog up the lane. Like with Westbrook, you put shooters. Like he's a guy that just needs flat out shooters because he can go downhill so fast. He's going downhill so fast, which is hard to double, but they have to collapse that lane, which now makes it easier for him to kick it out. I mean, come on, this man has success with OKC, right? And he averaged a triple-double with OKC. That means he passed the ball at least 10, 12 times. That means someone got those buckets, right? But nobody valuing them. That's what he did with that team.
So looking at this Lakers squad, can they get top 3 in the West? Are they still the favorite to come out of the West to go to the finals?
They're still the favorite because they're the deepest team. You still got LeBron, Anthony Davis, and Westbrook on that same team. So, them coming into the playoffs, it's really going to be hard to really try to dominate them for 4 games in the playoffs with that much height, that much athleticism. But, you can't play on playoffs. Like you can't we just need to get to the playoffs. You got to play dominant basketball now. You know what I mean? You got to dominate now. You got to see what everybody can do now. You can't we're going to trickle along and when we get to the playoffs, shit going to change. No, whatever your style was then is going to be in the playoffs. There's going to be there's going to be when I look at their paper and I'm like, all right, they scored 40 points in the first quarter. Yes, that's them. And then you have a quarter, they scored 12. How? Is that the Sparks? No, that's the Lakers. Yeah,
Sparks get buckets.
I know, but I'm saying you can expect that from a WNBA score, but an NBA score, 12 points in a quarter, 10 points in a quarter, 14 points. How? That's not even possible.
Yeah.
What offense? What do you do? 14? I'm trying to score 14 myself in a quarter, let alone the whole team. The whole team. What are you running? Is this a UCLA cut?
No, it's the Arizona cut.
UCLA, you pass and cut down and flare and come across and coming down robot offense.
Bro, we used to run that shit, and every team, we would call play, they'd have their defensive line. It was like, come on, dog, let's veer off a little bit.
That was so 1965, bro.
All right, Gil, now we're going to take some questions from the loyal fans on YouTube.
Ooh.
We sent the bird call out.
Okay.
They came back with some heaters. So first question is from Kristen from Philly, who wants to know if 76ers fans should buy Rich Paul's claim that the franchise is worsening Ben Simmons' mental health by not granting him a trade.
I'm just going to say I was right. I'm right. Listen. You have a guy who doesn't want to be there. First, you didn't want him there, right? Let's stick with the fact. You didn't want him there. You didn't think he was the guy that could have got you to the promised lands. All the fans, you showed what you really felt about him. So, as a 23, 24, 25-year-old, of course that's going to emotionally hit him, right?
And he's light-skinned, so let's just be real.
Yeah. And he's light-skinned. And he's from Australia.
I'm an expert on it. Yeah, that's too many things in one.
But it's a human, right? It's still a human, whose life is heroes. You've been cheered your whole life, right? You've been cheered your whole life. When you get booed on the road for how good you're playing. No one on the road boos you for sucking. Right? They're laughing and cheering that you're missing shots. They don't, boo, you're missing shots. I came money to see you burn my team. That doesn't happen. So when you get booed at home, that is personal. That means you don't like what I'm doing on the floor. So that player goes into the summer thinking he's going to be traded. right? The fact that the team that didn't want him didn't like what they were getting back. So you want him back now. That's just like getting out of prison and then they saying, hey, come on and do some community service here. No, no, I'm not stepping in that building no more. You crazy. No, I'm not coming. Like, so that's where it's at. So mentally, you got him in an environment that there's no success that's going to happen there. There's nothing good that's going to happen while he's in Philly. So it's mentally going to mess with him because obviously he's going to want to be on the court. So you're going to fine him for everything. Then you want to have a conversation with him. I don't want to have a conversation with you. You don't want me. I got it. Let's not backtrack. You know what I mean? So there's no point of him still actually being there. You know, so at this point, it is all mental. Like it is a mental thing. Like it's like I'm just trying to move along with my career, and you guys are purposely doing what you're doing. You guys are like focusing on me. Oh, he's not in practice. Is that a water bottle? Is that a phone? Like you're like coming at me for no reason. I haven't said anything in the paper. I haven't said anything about you. I have not done anything. So mentally, yes, I think that it's hurting him, you know, like while he's there. I'm pretty sure when he gets out of that gate, dude,
that mental
like, you remember that Martin Lawrence? I'm free. I'm
right
free.
foot, left foot.
Yeah. And that's gonna be the scene for Ben Simmons because, you know, at this point you try to bring him back to what he thinks in his mind is hell.
For sure. All right, so let's keep it moving. Rashid G wants to know, what is the best situation for John Wall?
John Wall, it's, you know, the situation is sad, but this is why some of your favorite players are not in the league. You know, you have two leagues into one. You have the bottom teams that's trying to rebuild, meaning they don't give two shits about nothing. They want to develop their young players. So he can't go to it, which is Houston. He can't play on a team where I'm trying to develop my young guys. I want my young guys to play. So you're going to be good enough for us not to be in the top 4-5 picks, right? You're going to be taken away from these young guys. Yeah, you can go out there and average 18, 10, 20 and 10. That doesn't help us. That doesn't help them. So we don't want you to play. Has nothing to do with him personally. We just don't want you to play because I need these guys to get confidence, to get the reps, let Jalen Green turn into what he's going to turn into. So you cut out all the bottom teams that's in that situation. Then you got the middle of the road teams where if that team needs a player to put them over the top, that's the team he goes to. So,
who's paying that 92 mils?
You know, a billionaire. You gotta remember they're all billionaires, so they don't really. Let's not fool ourselves. They don't really care about the money like that. Only a small market team. So you know he can go to Boston and change them, but you know Jaylen Brown and Tatum. I don't need the point guard. Just let me do me. You know, so he's gonna have to go somewhere like Chris Paul did. Get lucky. Get lucky and get around a group that's trying to get into that next level. So he has to go to like a borderline team who's trying to make that jump into, you know, the playoffs or deep in the playoffs or going to a team that's fighting for a championship. You know, so there's only 3-4 teams that he can actually go to, you know, and it all depends on, like, if you're a championship caliber team, you don't want to give up any pieces. You know, so it's like, I can take on this contract. I'll give you a few draft picks maybe, but, you know, I don't want to offload what I have here. I just want them. I'll take them, but I don't want to give up my core. He's going to take them to the next level.
So we got 2 more questions for you. Charles Jackson wants to know, how good was Scottie Pippen for real, though? Is defense, offensive IQ only important to consider about when it's convenient?
You know, looking at some of those Bull teams and Bull games, and he was the Kawhi Leonard, but had a Jordan in front of him. You know what I mean? So, Kawhi got to be what he is because he didn't have the Michael Jordan, taking those shots and dominating the ball. So you can see how sometimes Paul George and Kawhi clashes, over that ball. So, Pippen was, smart enough to understand that I'm here to help him. I'm coming in as Robin, and I'm going to be the best Robin that I can be. So it's really hard to put a real value on what he could have been or what he should have been because we only seen him in that element. But this guy did get the Bulls to the playoffs I think they were still number 1 or number 2 in the East with no Jordan. So, it lets you know that he was actually good.
Yeah, for sure.
But because he had Michael Jordan, we don't get to evaluate him for his individual success. But you're still talking about a guy who, they said he had 8 or 9 All-NBA defense, and he never won Defensive Player of the Year. Yeah, because he got Michael Jordan on the team, who's winning Defensive Player of the Year. You know what I mean? So that's, So he's losing to the same person every single time.
So quick, just want to ask you, what's harder to play with, the flu or a janky back?
Janky back.
Okay.
It's a back. Come on.
But everybody's clowning Scott. You only had 8 points with the back. It's like, yes, a back.
A back. You got to shit. You got to remember, T-Mac career was shortened because of the back. You see what Dwight Howard looked like in Lakers that first year, and then when he got to Houston with that bad back. We've seen what Michael Porter Jr. looked like when he first came back. Back is, that's how you move. That's how you move, goddammit. So that's half these people can't even play with a crook in their neck, let alone a back injury.
And that's but I saw everybody attacking Scotty like, oh, you only had 8 points or 5 points, whatever. It's like, motherfucker,
flu or food poisoning, you're still going to be weaker. You're not going to have your stamina. You're going to be, you're not going to have your legs. So, to score 38 with food poison or, the flu, that's still impressive.
For sure.
That's still impressive. Not going to lie. 8 points in a bad back. To have a bad back, to score, to beat a flu, you got to have about 20, 22 and 10. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's one of those 22 and 10, 8 points. Okay, you had a back injury. Okay, yeah.
All right, last question comes from TK. He says, how do you manage having a significant other while playing in the league?
Yeah, don't. I'm just playing.
I knew where this was going.
Is he asking for a serious one or?
He may be getting ready to play in the league and he wants to know how to maintain his boo.
It's so hard. Look, I'm just going to be honest. We're just going to be honest here. When you're coming to the NBA, you're a kid, young adult. You're coming in with a girlfriend who's a young adult. These are not women. You're not men. You're not, no matter if you have a family, you're in your 18, 19s, 20s. Now you are a star player or NBA player. No matter what she was in college, high school, 8 or 9, real 8, 9s, and 10s are going to be throwing it at you. I don't care how strong-willed you think you are, but when the top-tier girls that you see in magazines and TV and the videos are throwing it to you, you ain't rejecting it. So it's how strong and realistic the girlfriend is at that moment in time, which is the hard part. It's not necessarily the guy. It's usually how mentally strong the woman is, dealing with possible other women cheering for you when you go into the arena, like, yeah, that's my boo. And then, you got 20,000 other, bodies in there saying the same thing. You know what I mean? So it's really hard. It's really hard. But besides that part, let's just say you're both adults. It's even harder because this part, you're on a road, 2-3 weeks at times, right? When you come home, you want home cooked food. You want your bed. You want relax. Well, your girlfriend and the kids or your wife and the kids has been home for 3 weeks. When you come home, they want to go out. They want to go out and eat. They want to go that. So boom, you guys are clashing off of something that's just simple. One's been out eating food and hotel food and sleeping in different beds, not knowing what hotel room number he's in, coming home and just trying to relax while the other one's like, we've been home this whole time. We want to go out. Here's the kids. And you're like, I'm happy. I really wanted to just sit on by myself a little bit. Like, you know what I mean? And that's where usually fights happen. And that's why the statistics is so high. The first 4 years, there's a divorce. Because out of the first 4 years, that's the first time you're actually seeing that person for who they are. Like, what's your name again? Oh, these are kids? How old is this one? 7? Are you 7 already? Damn. Like, what do you eat? Like, it's like the basic questions like you ask. What's your favorite color again? Blue. Yes, it was blue. I thought it was red this whole time. Okay.
You were on the road thinking it was red?
No, what happened is because you have this, it's a fantasy relationship. It's a fantasy relationship. Like, let's not fool her. It is not a real everyday relationship. You got to remember, I'm playing 41 games on the road. I am gone as much as I am home. So our fights don't actually get resolved. So if we have a fight, we're going to resolve it in 10 days over this text. Yeah. We're not sitting down like real adults and hashing this shit out. We're texting. Man, you can see it on the players' faces, a whole bunch of that, and then by the time a week done go by, I can't wait to see you, miss you, and this and this. But you didn't really deal with anything. You go home for 2 days and then you're back on the road. So you're not really having a real family relationship. And then in the summer, it's vacation. We're gonna go on vacation. 2 weeks into that player's already trying to set up his next workouts. Oh yeah, man, I need to go ahead and get out of this house, bro. Get into these workouts. You know what I mean? So you don't really get to see who that person that you've been with for 10 years until you're done. Until you're done and you have nowhere to escape. And you're like, yeah. Oh, so you like to read all Sunday. Oh, you like to talk for an hour, huh? So we just gotta talk about our feelings, got it? Yeah, that's how it is.
That's real.
Like, he be sitting there like, yeah, them groupies on the road was so much better. They were so much funner. They didn't talk at all.
Yo, I know nothing about this, but we appreciate y'all. It's been No Chill with Gilbert Arenas. We'll be back very soon with more. Appreciate y'all questions as well.
That's the truth! That's the truth!
Oh my goodness.